What is up, everybody? Happy Monday morning. Welcome to the Monday morning market meeting with me, your host, Sean Patrick McGee, Grapevine. Thank you for being here, everyone. And thank you especially to our esteemed guest, like John Rahm, overcoming the curse of Zach Ertz as he coasts his way into an easy Masters win, like a wealthy golf enthusiast narrowly avoiding the falling trees of Augusta, Georgia, which I'm sure is explicitly against the rules of the Augusta National Golf Club in the heading Dendrology. And we are joined here. Man, that was I'm bombing this intro. Can we scrape it? We'll fix it in post. We'll edit.
I'm just gonna call out the mustache as the main cause. I think we're gonna call that out.
I was distracted by it myself. I was just like, man, it looks so good. I can see myself in the monitor. It looks great. And so we were joined here by Rob Pieklo, full-time barbecue champion and all-time secondary market wunderkind. Thank you for being here. In place of our dearly departed. Well, I mean, not dearly departed. Austin, I can't get this morning right. He's not dead. Austin's not dead. Thank you for being here, Rob.
I am so pumped to be here. Yeah, Austin is just getting married. No big deal.
Well, yeah, so I saw that on Instagram.
No big deal.
I saw that on Instagram, and he and I remember talked about that. I thought I was going to be his best man. I mean,
with those intros, I thought it was only fitting that you would be able to at least be the MC and do the intro.
Yeah, I could at least
fly you in specifically for that, but that didn't happen.
I'm not sure if Austin likes the intros, but at this point, I'm just too bought in to care. So we wish you well.
Thank you for mixing in the Augusta piece. Obviously, clearly, I was watching a lot of golf during Easter, and the family enjoyed that, but it was on for like 12 hours straight, pretty much, since there was a lot of weather issues over there. But it was a fun Masters. It was an interesting week and a big data-filled week that kind of ended up with a low volume blah kind of Friday that we saw and lost a little bit of pricing. So I'll let you get started and kind of talk through some of the things that we want to talk through today.
Sure. Yeah. Well, as usual, let's go over what happened last week, what's coming up this week, what that means, and then what that means for us in the market. So, what did we learn last week as far as news, and then what happened to the market?
Yeah, Friday was jobs, right? It was a jobs report. We had a blah report. It kind of met expectations. Some said it was weaker. People were looking for holes in it. There wasn't many holes to be found. So, we got our data on Friday. Then we saw a little bit of we lost a little retracement in some of the gains that we've had over the last week or so. But basically, the Fed meets, I think, May 3rd, and the next jobs report is going to be May 5th. So the data that we got on Friday, there was nothing in there to indicate that they're going to change course. And we know the Fed has been very deliberate. They haven't surprised anybody yet, over the last 6 to 12 months. I think people are still looking for some kind of surprise for some reason, but they've said what they're going to do, and they've done it every single time. And this didn't change our course, or their course, I should say. So we should expect, I think they're running at 70+% of a 25 basis point increase come May 3rd. And no large data points are going to suggest otherwise that are coming through. So we do have CPI on Wednesday and a bunch of Fed speakers this week. But again, May 3rd seems to be the day, and they're going to increase another quarter, it looks like.
So you don't think that Wednesday's CPI report could possibly factor in to what they're going to? What if it's a point, right? Like 100
if it's some bombshell kind of number, maybe. It's just I just don't think. I think right now they're focusing on employment, is a big piece here, and that has not changed much. Unemployment actually went down a little bit. So there's some factors there that I think are going to continue their course outside of some crazy number that's way off, which CPI is usually not. It's pretty. They're pretty on the ball when it comes to maybe a 10th here or a 10th there, but you're not going to see something that's going to be extraordinarily different. But if there is some massive headline print that's way off, then we should expect potentially that they may come out and start talking about the stopping this increase.
Wow. I'm just an optimist, Rob. I'm just ready. I'm ready to just have a bunch of good news all at once every month. And every month I'm disappointed, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So, all right. Well, before we get into wider mortgage market stuff, So as far as this week, we've got CPI, and then we've got some Fed chair people or Fed heads speaking this week as well.
Yeah. So we have a lot of people speaking. We have a lot of people talking. I think probably 6 or 7 Fed speakers going this week at various events or meetings. So anticipate to see some volatility, a little movement back and forth. We've been in this positive trend. I expect this trend, even though we had this little bounce back, I expect it to kind of continue this road right now. We're seeing some traction in MBS. We've moved down a little bit. We've seen rates move down. These kind of jolts up, are okay as long as the overall trend are continuing the path that we're going. And everything is pointing to slow down. You're going to see this 25 basis point increase, but you're going to continue to see, the markets and everything else in the economy start to slow a little bit. And then hopefully we can kind of see with that negative news, not that that's great for everybody, but in terms of the mortgage world, we have to talk in terms of the mortgage world, you should see rates start to continue to kind of move downward in that trend. So we've seen that. We're still in a world of like premium issues. We're still in that. We've talked about it at length, where it's just very hard to get premium on loans. So you're still seeing a lot of the higher LLPA loans and some of the government DPA programs, other things. It's really hard to get to par these days. Going to continue until probably end of May, or I guess when we get some clearer direction in May after this meeting, and then after the main CPI report that everybody's talking about on May 10th.
So, all right, still running into it. So it doesn't matter that rates are going down. There's just not what's the reason for why isn't that leaving behind a trail of premium as rates come down? You would think
it's twofold. So like on the top end of the rate stack, like people you're not going to see investment. We're talking about the investment portion of this. Like people are not going to invest in a certain coupon without a certain duration expected in return. So like they would expect, I know it's a 30-year mortgage that's going to last 7 to 10 years or so. But in a market like this, where everything's kind of pointing it to come down, we should have built machines to refinance things quicker. So they would anticipate that there might be some significant prepay speed. So why would somebody want to pay 3, 4, 5% for a bond that's going to pay off in 6 months or a year or 18 months? The math doesn't work for them. And instead, they can just get into a treasury at a certain yield and know they're going to get that return no matter what. So the MBS market's in a kind of a conundrum where we can't get that additional premium. And then on top of that, because rates are moving down, the second half of pricing is based on mortgage servicing rights. And when rates are moving down, there's a same kind of concept applies here that MSR is potentially going to prepay or get paid off faster. So there isn't as much value in that MSR. So when you see those kind of moves, even when rates get a little bit better, you see that the rate move gets better. But how come my rate didn't get much better at 6.75, or why pricing didn't get better at 6.75? It's because even though the bond might have moved better, the MSR may have moved and been kind of offset that price gain that you've seen in the MBS.
And this is why we're seeing it seems to me that discount points are much more effective in this environment than they were, say, when rates were in the 2s and 3s, right? Like it never made any sense. I mean, obviously, like if you're getting a 3% loan to begin with, like doesn't get much better than that. But running the payoff calculators in 2020 and 2021 to buy the rate down a half a point, it just it would take 12 years to make it worth it. Now, plenty of people did it. But now it's sometimes 6.25 is $600 more expensive than 6.625. So this is the reason that those lower rates they seem to be more scrunched together. Is that
correct? So you're seeing coupon over coupon, there's a certain price differential in between coupon as you go up, and normally you would see it at 150 to 250 basis points between coupon. Let's just say between 5.5% and 6%. These days it's 100 basis points, or sometimes even less. So when you have that kind of compression at the top, you're going to see significant value in sometimes buying down a rate, or even in certain anomalies of certain note rates paying more based on what coupon they're slotting to and the servicing value, right? So there's things that you kind of go into the equation that you don't necessarily see on just a rate sheet, other than the price looks a little bit wonky or a little bit different. I used wonky, but that's a technical term, for pricing. But when you see that, when you open it up, you'll see that these values, and I'm seeing, sometimes to get to par, it's almost like it's just too costly. You have to recommend buying down, even though we think rates might be going down in the future. You still have to look at it and give your customer that option, because we're seeing recoupment in 12, 14 months on some of these, and sometimes
Sure.
even
Yeah,
less than
it's
12 months. I'm
really
seeing, I saw a
quick.
10-month one the other day that we went from 675 all the way down to 599. And it made sense because they were recouping that full cost. It was less than 75 basis points. And they were recouping that in 11 payments. So it just made a lot of sense to do that.
I think like don't let the prospect of future refis stop you from offering the best deal to the customer. I mean, it feels like it goes without saying, but yeah, it definitely. I mean, for two reasons: A, because it's the right thing to do, and B, because we don't actually know if rates are going to go down. Right? Like, there's really nothing. It doesn't seem to me, rates are definitely going to settle a little bit. It seems like when the volatility is over, when the Fed stops raising rates. But I get the sense that the Fed is going to be very, very wary about using dropping the Fed funds rate ever again, right? Like they are going to do it only when it's the last thing that they could possibly do, because as we saw twice in the last 10 years, that those arrows, like, they get spent pretty quickly. And the Fed, I think, thought going into the 2010s, like, oh well, we can just lower rates and that'll stimulate the economy. And then both times that they did it, they realized, oh, we didn't. Like, we'd either have to go below zero to get to where we want to go, or we're going to have to flood the economy with cash using quantitative easing. So if anybody's out there thinking like, oh, the Fed's just going to lower rates just like willy-nilly, like, that doesn't seem likely, does it?
No, it doesn't. And you're spot on with that. They had to create liquidity, and they pumped a bunch of money into the market, and that's something that they didn't think they were going to have to do. But when you kind of use all your arrows or use it prematurely, that's all that's left. And they did that. I think you're right. They're going to be much more cautious this time around. In terms from the origination standpoint, you got to remember, like, short-term debt is just getting so much more expensive. Our longer-term debt hopefully is going to continue to trend in the lower direction. So it puts us in a pretty good spot. Like, a lot of people are like, oh man, like, home equity line is a great idea. And then you look at, well, prime is like 8 today. So if you're not like perfect and prime maybe minus a quarter or half or something when you're getting your HELOC set up, like if you're prime +1 or plus, it starts to make sense to start looking at like first lien cash out programs if they're out there, if they qualify for it. It's one of those things that the rates are on those short-term debts are just getting more and more costly. And people kind of forget that prime has been kind of going up as Fed raises interest
Oh yeah,
rates.
I have a HELOC right now, and I'm like, man, my payments doubled in the last 6 months. It's gone from 4% to 8%, and it's not cheap. I'm like, I gotta refinance this like into one loan. So okay, so we've got Fed stuff. We've got CPI. We talked about how the current rate stack is lacking in premium, but that lack in premium can be talked about. Like, you could kind of spin it to say, actually, lower rates are much cheaper than usual. So
Yep.
the takeaway here for loan officers is look, 50, 75, 100 basis points down the rate stack and see how much value you can offer your client. From there, I mean, it's going to make you much more competitive, right, than if you're just offering the no cost rate against some other lender. This will set you apart from them. All right. Well, you're going to be on next week as well, right?
I'll be on next week as well. I think Austin is going to be in Europe during that time, so we'll definitely fill in again. He's going to have a good trip.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think you're again spot on with that opening the stack. That's key. That's key for our team members. We talked about it a lot. Open the stack and provide some value. Find the value for your customer. Don't just rely on the point and click origination world like a lot of LOs out there, where you just look at the first number and that's what you're offering at par. It really makes sense to open it up and find value.
Amazing. Well, before we go, I know that you're involved in researching and onboarding new lenders and new products. Any tips you can give us about anything fun that is coming down the pipe as far as products or partners?
Yeah, so we just rolled out 2 new lenders this week in the non-QM space. We're going to continue in that space. We've created a new partnership also with some of our current lenders on like a different premium type program, like we've done with NewFi as well, that we talked about on Friday. So we're going to continue to go down that path. We're going to create a new process for everybody so they understand what to do and what we're looking for when we're adding new lenders, because a lot of times it's just, hey, we want this lender, but we need to know why. What's the value add that we're going to bring? And the idea is to bring as many products to our originators' fingertips as possible without having any drastic effect on the operational experience that our customers are accustomed to, right? We want to make sure that they get used to this incredible, quick, clear to close time and this incredible service that we provide here. So we want to continue down that road. So it's not just about the product or the pricing, it's about that operational efficiency. And we'll be bringing on a few more this week where we have some things set up. We're working on some DPAs as well.
No way.
The team members are doing a really good job of offering great suggestions to help in certain areas. We are focused a little bit more on the kind of national side of things right now, and then we're going to kind of get into these localized programs as well as we continue to kind of trek on and create a new process and kind of policy on how to add lenders. So once we get that thing settled and squared away, we'll get that out to the entire team here and hopefully have a quicker process, including being able to look up whether someone's already asked for a particular lender or not. So that's something I'm excited to be able to offer to the team soon.
Nice. Oh, I love it. That sounds fantastic. Thank you for your hard work in bringing those lenders on. One of the nice things for my folks in Agent Direct is, they can say with complete certainty, if a lot of agents are like, I just want one lender who's going to be able to do all the loans, right? Like they're going to be able to do our, prime stuff. They're going to be able to do our jumbo stuff. They're going to be able to do non-QM, investor, FHA, DPA. They want a one-stop shop. They don't want like specialists. They want generalists who specialize in everything. And it's really nice for my staff to be able to say, hey, we like, you name it, we offer it. So that's been a huge help. So thank you.
Yeah, with this team here, you do have an expert in every field, because I'll be surprised. I'm surprised of the loans that I see or the scenarios I see and the lenders that are out there. Be like, you think this is offshoot product, and it's like, well, no, this lender offers it, and then we get them signed up, and sure enough, there's a bunch of loans going there in that direction. So
yeah, it's if you build it, they will come kind of situation for sure.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Well, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Awesome. Looking forward to a great week. Thanks, Austin. Thanks, Sean. Almost called you Austin. Great mustache, though, by the way. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great week, everybody. Go lock some loans.